Hello, dear friends. We are here with 15 cases of past lives. True cases that were examined by the illuminated spirits. Published in a book that is titled originally in Spanish, Hechos que Prueban by Amalia Domingo Soler, and later translated into Portuguese, Reencarnação e Vida. And then Luis Hu selected 15 cases of Hechos que Prueban and decided to translate it and publish in a book titled 15 Vidas Passadas. This book is being translated and is now being studied by us here at Kardec Radio, and you can later watch it on YouTube as well, as each and every episode is being transferred, uploaded right there. It's an opportunity for all of us to get in touch with this message that can really help us understand more about our lives. Yes, when we are understanding about the lives of these cases, the people that are discussing, we get to know more of ourselves. As you know, in the Spirit's book by Allan Kardec, when he was asked about what can we do to expedite our progress and avoid mistakes, self-knowledge, these cases become true opportunities for us to know about ourselves. Exactly. And tonight we're going to study chapter 2, which is titled The Monster Boy. I know these titles the cases are dramatic, but they are true. After all, life is, in a way, a little bit of drama here and there, right? And we have here a beautiful community who is coming from around the world, getting together in this Spiritist Center here we have created on Facebook at 11 p.m. An opportunity for all of us to work together while recharging ourselves, renewing ourselves. Let me say hi to this beautiful community before we enter the study of tonight. Shall we? Leticia, our super friend. We were just there at the Spiritist Society of Virginia. It's a joy to have you here. And I know Juliana is there somewhere too, right? Rihanna, how are you? What a beautiful work you are doing, Rihanna. Translating the messages of the spirits in these books to the local language there in your city in South Africa. Just beautiful. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Sunshine, thank you too for the beautiful recordings. I got your email and we're going to be working on it and give you a feedback, okay? But thank you for the work of the heart. We are happy to have you here. Patricia and Tiago, beautiful flowers and hearts, right, Patricia? We nourish our souls with this beautiful love. Danny and Erica, love you guys. Beautiful work you've done in the symposium. Aline, another happy night. Yeah. Oh, happy night. Oh, happy night. And Jesus walks. Oh, yes. And he walks. Why not? Right, Aline? Yes. Lea Severo. Adorable. You know, we are here together and then we meet in person. And it's more beautiful. You know, it's one of those cases that are contrary to what people expect. When you meet here in the internet, when you see people live, they don't look the same. For us, it's just better. Right, Leah? Right. Nico and Rihanna. Beautiful. Thank you, Leticia. Marco Carvalho. What a joy. Beautiful faces and the sunflower. And who is here? Who is here in person? Guess who? No, Jesus. Yes, he's there too, but
Hi guys! Hi adorable spirits! Hi adorable family!
You know, Carol Correa is here. Yes, she was in the center of the Spirit side of Virginia, and she's here with us. The case tonight, really, we need extra help. And Carrie is here to help. Because these cases are really spicy. They are. But why? Because our lives are just like that. Right, Rudy? You're present, and you are our present. Thank you, Rudy, for being here with us. Oh, Leia Severo and Sunshine, sending you a kiss, and lovely and sweet Karen Mark. What a beautiful family we have, huh? All of us together, yes. You know, Angelita is here. Thank you, Angelita, and Debbie Oliveira for being here with us. If I'm missing anybody, please let me know, notify, because maybe sometimes I miss it. All right? Now let me share something with you. These cases of the afterlife, they are talking about one major law in life: action and reaction. At each thought, feeling, word, and action, we're sowing seeds that we're going to reap tomorrow. The law of action and reaction, the law of reincarnation, cannot be bent. It exists. When you go to the Spirit's book and you get to know more about the very questions that talk about forgetfulness of the past, second part of the Spirit's book, we get to know, okay, 382 to 399 of the Spirit's book, right before the section of sleep and dreams, which begins in question 400. Kardec says we can access these files of a previous life. But the question is, should we? When should we? We should when our lives are stagnated. But we only have access to the information, the much information that we need to catapult us, if we are open to the new. Not everybody is open to the new. That's why it's risky to know exactly what happened in a previous life, because sometimes people hold grudges very easily, and they are not good candidates to know of previous lives, because they won't be able to forgive themselves easily or other people. But those who have an easier time, they can even boost their lives when they know. Did you know that in more elevated planets, people are given the opportunity of remembering previous lives more easily? Why? Because they can deal with it with greater ease. So if you are there asking yourself, oh, maybe I should know, first of all, ask how good you are at dealing with the things that people do to you. How do you deal with yourself when you realize you made a mistake? If you have a hard time with those issues, do not even attempt to know what happened in the past. You're not going to be ready to process it. Okay? We can talk more about this as we revisit the case. This case happened in Mexico. A friend of Amalia Domingo Soler, who used to live in a city in Mexico, sent to her an obituary of a dramatic case that truly happened in Mexico. And she said, it impressed me so deeply that I asked the Spirit who guides us in the mediumistic meetings to know more about it, why that person lived such a difficult life. And the report that was sent to her says the following. I'm going to skip some parts because this is a 20-page chapter. I'm going to give you some excerpts so you have an idea about the story and we can discuss this. Right, Sol? Right, Adilson and Juliano? Big kiss to all of you, friends. So let us jump in. This is the story. Mexico. Somebody who died and had a very strange life. His name was Arcadio Gongora. Arcadio Gongora, who lived in a slum in a city in the country of Mexico. And when he turned 32 years of age, he lost his mind completely. Lost his mind. He became psychiatrically ill. Physically, he was charming, and he apparently had a lot of health. But the apparent innocent madness became hostile and dangerous, to the point that Amalia, the person who got to know of him, came to see him 3-4 times and just saw the decline of his health, to the point he had to be isolated and chained like an animal, isolated from everybody because he was very aggressive. Very, very aggressive. His hair, his beard, and his whole facial expression changed. And he had to live a very difficult life for 20 years, chained to an isolated home. He had big black eyes who almost came out of his face. His clothes were always dirty and, they were not pleasant to see. He looked like a wild animal. He stopped talking, but he was constantly screaming. And he would stop a little bit just to sleep, but would keep on going just like an animal. A primitive voice that would produce sounds. This was the life of this man, Arcadio Gongora, living in Mexico, 32 years of age. And why was he living this way? After 20 years of this mental illness that impaired him completely, he discarnated. And when he discarnated, he was seen discarnating and emitting, as he was dying, like emitting this sentence, "Come, brothers, finally my death came over." And Arcadio Gongora discarnated. This was a report sent to Amalia December 19th, 1882. Remember, Amalia Domingo Soler lived in Spain in the 19th century. She died at the beginning of the 20th century, in 1909. So she receives this report from a friend, and she says, "What a sad story, what a painful story. There must be a cause for such effect. Terrible. What may have caused it? Usually we see the problems that happen in life and we feel victims, but we should ask. As Kardec taught us, this is the effect of a previous cause. For every effect, there must be a cause. If somebody lost their minds, what may have caused it? What is it? Now be prepared, dear friend, because the good spirits are going to reveal to us the behind the scenes of this psychiatric condition. Okay? Hello, Soraya Galvão. How are you? Now, listen to this. Great remorse. Travel through the old Europe, the one that conquered the new world. It takes great responsibility, as in its terrible fights, it committed a lot of genocide in exploiting the new world. Bottom line, I'm going to read some excerpts but summarize to you. Arcadio Gongora, in a previous life, was one of these men who, from Spain, came to Mexico and conquered the new lands of America. But he was a man who did it with cruelty. And I'm going to describe it to you. Okay? This man did this. Okay? And I will read right here what the Spirit says. He was one of the Spanish conquerors who conquered the Mexican lands and really abused the innocence of women and became, and you know, he stole the lands of the natives who were living, the tribes who were living in Mexico. He was so cruel, that he would be brutally abusing the whole people. Say the spirits here that if we could admit that there are two forces, evil and the good, this man is one of the favored children of the Prince of Darkness. Just so we see how evil this man was. And when we say evil, is the lack of the good. Right? Brutal. And he would abuse men and women to his sexual desires. He would be excited about painfully, like sadistically treating his slaves. He was courageous and unafraid, and he would take the most risky enterprises. And one day, he entered a new venture. He heard about a beautiful woman who was born in Mexico. Her name was Azora. He was like this oracle of the tribe, a virgin, respected by all, a person who prophesied. And she was loved by the parents and the brothers. They said that she was chosen by the Father of Light. But one day, since she was a medium, she got to know, she foresaw the future. She came, reunited the whole tribe and said, a great and invisible disgrace is going to fall upon us. Birds are going to come from the sky, and black, they are going to have, symbolically speaking, she was going to say, their black wings are going to cover the whole village in ashes. And she says, you may be afraid, and you shall be afraid. But not for us, but feel sorry for those who are going to create suffering for us. Because we are going to be purified in our suffering, but they are just gonna sow seeds of hatred for them. And that young lady was not wrong. On that very night, that man who in this life spent 20 years psychiatrically disturbed, mad, connected to a chain, deformed by his own disease in a previous life, was the Spanish conqueror who exploited the lives and the lands in Mexico. And he, named Gonzalo, came with hundreds of men to conquer the land and to destroy the village. They were searching for the so-called and famous Azora, who was really beautiful. He wanted her to be one of his women. And a beautiful girl, to avoid the bloody encounter, she came before the village. She told the village, "You stay here, I'm gonna encounter with the gods." She just protected them, but she voluntarily marched towards Gonzalo and said, "I can be yours, but with one condition, that you do not do anything with my people." When Gonzalo saw her, it's as if, says the Spirit, she had this magnetic influence over him. For the first time ever, he obeyed a woman. Azora was there, but the parents of Azora, after a few days, they realized that Azora wanted to protect them, but she was in danger. So they came for her, and when they faced Gonzalo came out of his enchantment, almost like this envelopment of love that Azora made around him. And his animal instincts awakened to the point that all his evil instincts made him lose his mind again, and he started battling the whole village, the whole family. Azora was mistreated violently in front of her father, as her father was also violently mistreated in front of her. That scenario was happening in a daily basis. Azora couldn't handle it. She died. Gonzalo continued insulting Azora's father and started throwing lots of dirt in the very hole where he kept the whole village. The abuse was indescribable, says the Spirit. And after cruel sufferings, the father of Azora died as well. Thus the children also died. No one survived in the tribe. The whole tribe was decimated. Gonzalo kept on doing his exploitation of lives and lands, committing terrible crimes just for the pleasure of doing evil. And in the pathway, he one day found people who wanted to help and educate him, but he despised them. He just increased his own expiation in that life. Since then, he incarnated several times, but every time he incarnated, suffering amounted to the greatest level. He did so many bad things, And Azora, now a spirit of light, is encouraging him to evolve in the many reincarnations. Stop. Azora had already an ascendancy over Gonzalo. Why? Now we're gonna know why. Why Azora came across Gonzalo and was able to make him stop for a while. Because she knew him from before. Now the Spirit is telling us that actually Azora volunteered to reincarnate in that life as Azora to help the regeneration of Gonzalo. But she was so sensitive that she didn't resist the violent shock when she saw her father suffering in such a bad state. Her task overflowed her strength. Only God is infallible, and the spirits not always know how to measure their strength when they are trying to cross the abyss. Is it true, friends, that we can volunteer to tasks and maybe fail just because the task is bigger than us? Yes. In the Spirit's book, we have references regarding it. Does it mean we're setting ourselves up to fail? No. And that's why Spiritism is coming to our rescue. To help us understand that we can do it. Sometimes it's too much. And sometimes it's because we volunteered to help others thinking we're going to be able to. But we're given the concession of that life to boost new virtues in us. Azora is not a perfect spirit. She was volunteering to help, but she also needed to be helped. How many of us in our lives feel almost succumbing to the trials that we're experimenting? Sometimes it seems too much. Should you give up? Should we give up? Should we, Carol?
No.
No. Especially now that we know of Spiritism, we have renewed hopes. The Spirit, and no, Marco, this conversation is very serious. It is. These cases are really wake-up calls for us. Let me just finish some of the highlights by the Spirit Mentor of Amália Domingo Soler, and then we can talk more here, okay? Hello, Rita de Cássia, Karina, Cessa, Daniel, and Monica. Here we have, he says, it is more difficult to see the miseries of the earth than to live amongst them. There is a big distance between one and the other. There are many spirits that succumb before the rough trials and sacrifices. We will never, says the spirits, get tired to tell you that no matter how criminal a man may be, we cannot correct them through violence because he has already committed crime. In crime itself, there is already the evil. As Emmanuel says, evil contains the remedy in itself. We don't need to impose another crime. And this is a footnote for us. It's like here. No to capital punishment. One crime doesn't justify the other. Killing somebody who killed others is no different. But Vanessa is going to kill somebody else. No, keep him in jail. But let us educate the spirit. We cannot kill others. No, no. You shall not kill. This is one of the 10 commandments. You shall not kill ever, ever, ever. But, no, there's no but. There's like, you shall not kill. But Emmanuel, in a book titled Sefer de Luz, talks about a different type of killing. Killing time. Yes. Killing the image of others. Sometimes people don't know you. And they ask, who is Carol Correa? And I say, she's fantastic. She's sweet, a wonderful friend. You don't know her, right? If you don't know her, do you want to meet her? Of course. You see the impact of our words? If I come to you and you don't know me, but you've heard about me, it's wise to give that person a chance. Because if I just trust what others said, not necessarily they are right. It's their take. Maybe it's something between them. How many people heard of Jesus? They've never met. At his time. And they came to see him because they were excited about it. Others were resistant. And they were creating fronts of resistance. I'm sorry for them. They just missed the boat of being in close contact with the most loving being that was incarnated on the earth. Just because of gossip and because of killing the image of somebody. Bad-mouthing somebody is also killing, right? Hello, Edinalda, how are you? Welcome, welcome. Simone Kirliu, welcome, 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 dear soul. Now you're here, let us grow, because this story is very heavy, but it's a true one. We really need to understand, because it may be one of us, right? Maybe one of us. Yes. Well, and they tell us more. After many terrible incarnations, then there's a life of deception. Now the spirit is inclining himself to the good, but his love doesn't find any reward. They are saying here that we need to know the voices of the spirits come to make us understand that we're never alone. And thus we avoid suicides. Thus we understand why we go through tough times. Now, she says that the spirits told Amalia Domingo Soler, you will be more compassionate with those who are criminal when you get to know that you yourselves were also one criminal in the past. And maybe will become again. No. Yes. What is crime? Crime is when we go against the law of God. Are you 100% compliant with the law of God? Are you, Carol? No. Am I? No. So we're still committing crimes. Crimes that today are not considered crimes, but in 100, 1,000 years from now, they're crimes. Like gossiping. Gossiping is crime. Before the natural law of life, it is. But we don't think it is. But it is. When we slander somebody, it's a crime. We're creating obstacles for that person. It's a crime before God's law. The spirit that is attached to evil sometimes take a long time to decide to do the good. Says the spirits, they are like a baby that gives 1 step forward and 5 steps backwards, and repeats several on the same place. In the same way are all the spirits of creation, that they move forward and sometimes they need to create new muscle to actually persist forward. So there is a good advice here, she says, in this communication. She says human beings, actually the spirit guide, human beings are jealous, vindictive, envious, ambitious, self-absorbed, in general. And they will rarely find the good, the glory of God in the afterlife. Why? Because when we discarnate, we come to terms with our own conscience. If you think about it, if you discarnate today, what would you have done differently? We need to think like that and ask that question every day. Why? To feel like spirits. You are an immortal spirit, me too. Carol too. We really need to calibrate ourselves daily and say, if I discarnate today, what is important for me? Before you begin your day. Oh, to go to work. Yes, but how you're going to work? You're going to work to help others, to serve, or just to fulfill your job description so you can get to the next step. As André Louis says, just to take things from your advantage or to give things to others. Whose agenda you are following through, yours or God's? What is God's agenda? If there is any, it is love. Love. Whom? Everyone. But Vanessa, everyone. Do you have an easy time looking at people in the eye? Or is it difficult for you? It's one of the signs that we are so truthful, we can look at people in the eye very easily. We don't escape. If you want to make a test, if you are already one with the people whom you're encountering, look at them in the eye without fear. Because we are only afraid if we don't think they are children of God. That's a good thermometer. If you can look in the eyes of everybody whom you encounter without fear, it's a sign that you are really caring. You really care about their life. And I will tell you this because I've observed this attitude with Divaldo Franco, Raul Teixeira. Everywhere they go, there's not even a single waiter in a restaurant or a staff at a check-in desk that comes unnoticed by them. They notice everyone. They notice everyone. Of course, when you have a kid to take care of, your eyes need to be on the kid, especially if they are little ones. You need to keep an eye on them. It's not that you don't mind about other people, but you need to keep an eye. But if you're by yourself, observe. Do you have an easy time looking at people's needs, observing what they are doing, and looking at them in the eye without fear? How can you do it? Breathe in and out. Prepare yourself before you leave your home. Prepare yourself before you meet people. And tell yourself, I am a child of God. They are children of God. If you have a job interview, tell yourself, I'm a child of God. The people who are interviewing me are children of God. They have guardian angels. Me too. Hey, the guardian angels are mingling. And I don't need to be afraid. People are going to find it weird. They're so relaxed. Right? Because you feel comfortable. Like, how come you're comfortable? Well, we're children of God. And you can sing. Right? I am a child of God. Did you see in the symposium the children singing? Right, Carol? We are the children of God. It seems a simple song, but it's not. When the good spirits brought it, they wanted us to feel it, that we're children of God. That's a good way to calibrate ourselves daily. Put your hand in the heart and tell yourself, I am a child of God. You, my interviewers, are children of God. You, my spouse, you reincarnated to learn to do good. Me too. And me too. Carol too. Right? And friends, the spirit guide of Amália Domingo Soler didn't stop, believe it or not. He wants to tell us more. When humanity understands that in creation everything is just, they will love God even more in spirit and truth. They will worship God's name everywhere in the world. We're going to appreciate even more the beauty of the life under God's caring. And at the end of it all, he says, and I'm skipping a few pages here, he says, majority of the incarnated beings on the earth are people who are sick and are recovering. And the benefactors, who are the doctors of the soul, come to take care of each one of them. If you are tired and you have hunger and you're cold, repose a little bit. The friends of the beyond want to make your journey less painful, demonstrating these undoubting cases that God is just and there is justice everywhere. Everywhere. Friends, we are spirits who are adjusting ourselves. We are recovering. Amália Domingo Soler finishes with her reflection. She says, we agree with the reasonable considerations of the spirits. And for each painful experience, we need to use our reason and repeat with the good spirits that the earth is a hospital of sick generations that are recovering. Only the spirits of good intentions can follow through the good guidance, and they bring to us relief. Let us study nature and observe the laws of life, and we'll know we're never alone. In other words, Luis Hu is here, and he's the one who translated from Spanish to Portuguese, and Carlos is translating from Portuguese to English. And thanks to that beautiful teamwork effort, we're here, friends, discovering more about ourselves. Now we understand. If somebody you meet today, and you feel something, you bet you've been together before. Somebody who has certain ascendancy over you probably reincarnated to give you a hand. Do not torture their life. Sometimes we abuse our counselors, advisors, tutors, making them suffer. Like Gonzalo really made Azora suffer, and Azora came to help him out. Right? Yes, Luis, we're very happy that you're providing to us this opportunity. Thank you, thank you. Ana Mercia, thank you for being with us. Tanya Stewart, beautiful Tanya and Greg. Now, friends, let us revisit another moment here. Kardec says in the Spirit's book, we can recognize our reincarnatory issues by observing our instinctive tendencies. This man, Gonzalo, in a previous life, in this life, the madman, who was deformed by his madness, 20 years of a difficult life, he had very aggressive instincts. When you see a child of an early age being aggressive, don't excuse her for the age, but help that spirit that is incarnating and need to learn how to be less aggressive. Because in previous lives we were more aggressive than in this one. And if we want to succeed in this one, we need to tame ourselves in our instinctive tendencies. Can we ask you, since it's a therapeutic conversation and we are wrapping up, what is the top one instinctive tendency that you display in this life that needs care, adjustment, education, refinement? Can you name it? Not to us, please. To you. Let me name my own. What is it? An instinctive tendency that I have that may be in great need of refinement. What is it? Can you name it? Name it. And tame it. I know you want to be happier, right? Me too. And this is the opportunity for us. In this case, Amália Domingo Soler and her mentor give us an opportunity to revisit our own for you. Let me revisit it for me too. And in that journey, we have one day, 24 hours until we meet again at 11 p.m. to understand how we can tame it. The first thing we need to do is seek the good in you. And know that you're not defined by those temporary shortcomings. Seek the good in you. Feel the good in you. As Emmanuel says, visualize the good in you. And mold your life to the good in you. Shall we? Let us meditate on this, shall we? Sunshine, my dear friend, shall we? It's amazing. Let us meditate, and meanwhile tell ourselves, put your hand in your heart, right, Rihanna? I am a child of God. I am a child of God. I reincarnated to learn to do good. Now Carol with you to wrap it up.
You are a child of God. You are a child of God. You reincarnated to learn to do good.
Reincarnation, the path of progress. Does it feel good to know that we're destined to progress? You're destined to progress. You can do it. Me too. Trust in you because God is investing in you every day. Thank you, dear friends. Thank you, Marco. Thank you, Rita, Rihanna, Sunshine, and all of you. Let us spread the good news wherever you are in this world. It's an opportunity to create peace around the world. Until tomorrow.